Hello, John Paulson with JDE Resource Services, here to give you an overview of the JD Edwards Capacity Requirements Planning application. A little about myself. I've been consulting on JD Edwards manufacturing applications for a little over 20 years now. My prior professional life has been in manufacturing management with Northwest Manufacturers. Topics include why capacity planning, JD Edwards Capacity Planning Overview, rough cut and capacity requirements planning, managing capacity messages, work center load and query. We'll look at the process flow and we'll go into the application. So, why capacity planning? I find it interesting how some manufacturers I visited who are running JD Edwards do not use the JD Edwards Capacity Requirements Planning application, or use any CRP tool for that matter. Capacity planning is foundational to manufacturing and the supply chain. Capacity planning is central to everything that is done in manufacturing. It's a critical component to the supply chain. Manufacturers must have the ability to evaluate feasibility of a proposed schedule or proposed schedule change to manufacturing in terms of capacity. Because of the key role of capacity planning in manufacturing, understanding the basics is really essential for manufacturing, and understanding your tool that you're using, whether it be JD Edwards or whatever, is very important. Capacity has two levels, strategic and tactical. At the strategic level, capacity is all about what that manufacturing work center can or cannot do. At the tactical level, it's all about that level of output per unit. Now you may ask, okay, which work centers do we really want to run capacity planning on? The question really is, which work centers and operations are the bottleneck? That should be the focus. The JD Edwards capacity planning system is used to ensure sufficient capacity is available to accomplish the plant production schedule generated by the master production schedule or material requirements planning. If sufficient capacity is not available, it comes down to two options. You either alter that plan, okay, the master production schedule or MRP, or adjust your capacity, whether it be people, machines, hours. The three components of the JD Edwards capacity requirements planning is 1. Resource requirements planning, 2. Rough cut capacity planning, and 3. Capacity requirements planning. The first one, resource requirements planning, this is going to be based off the forecast. It uses the detail or summary forecast to estimate the resources that are needed to make, say, a product family. This is your top level, okay? Next level below forecast is going to be your master production level. Okay, this is the rough cut capacity planning. It identifies capacity constraints at work centers that have been identified as critical. So you run your MPS, take a look at your rough cut capacity, make adjustments to your MPS. Next level is capacity requirements planning. The level below MPS is going to be your MRP. Okay, so this is all based off of MRP, work order load, basically your planned load. It compares the material requirements planning to the capacity available in all work centers that are identified. Use CRP to determine whether you should revise that MRP or work order load to create feasible workloads, and then or make your adjustments to your resources at that point. So do you need to use all of these? No, you don't. It really comes down to your business requirement. Okay, there are companies that may not be working with the forecast. There may be companies that are not working with the master production schedule within Edwards. Okay, if you're working with the master production schedule in Edwards, then yeah, your rough cut capacity, this is going to be valuable. If you're not working with MPS, you're just working strictly with MRP, then you'll be working strictly with the capacity requirements planning piece of this application. And so really the difference between 2 and 3 is how the work center is identified. Okay, so your work center is going to be identified for number 2 as a critical. Now, capacity requirements planning, number 3, it really comes down to which work centers are going to be the work centers that you really want to focus on. And like I had mentioned, typically it's going to be your bottleneck work centers. Okay, so what are the inputs and the outputs of capacity requirements planning? Your inputs are going to be your load, your work orders that have been released, and those routings that are tied to those work orders. You've also got your planned load. That's going to be based on your MRP messages and the routings that are tied to those assemblies within those messages. Also, resource units. Okay, resource units are based on your setups that are in your work centers. Machines, people, hours per day, shifts. Then your outputs are going to be your messages, your over, your underload, your work center load and query, and your period summary. And we'll get into that in just a minute when we go into the application. So the work center load, we've got our load and we've got our capacity. And the load is going to be looking at released. That is work orders that have been opened. Okay. Planned load is based on MRP. And then we've got our total. And then down below is capacity. Okay. This is based on what we have set up within our work centers as it ties into the resource units. So gross capacity, 40. Rated capacity is based on the efficiency utilization that we have set up within our work centers. What you don't see here is an accumulated line, which is just below the available capacity. So this will accumulate to show where we stand, whether it be week by week, day by day, month by month. We'll go into this in just a minute within the application. Okay, the process flow, really at a high level here. We run our master production schedule, or MRP. Followed up from that is running the CRP program, R3382. And then we would then look at our work center load and query screen. So, and then from that, really, we have our options. If there needs to be an adjustment, do we need to adjust the plan or do we need to adjust our resources? And then we go right back into our work order management process. So let's go into the application itself. Okay, we are now in the J.D. Edwards system. I'm going to go into my favorites. In my favorites, I have set up capacity planning. Within my capacity planning folder, I have two folders, one for daily, one for periodic. So for the daily, I have capacity requirements plan, so I could run the plan anytime I want, following an MRP generation. Once this capacity requirements plan has generated, I can then go in and view the work center load, which we're going to go into now. The work center load, this really is the heart and soul to capacity planning. It is used by schedulers. It's also used by shop floor supervisors. And I've also seen it used by order entry. So order entry can see where we are with capacity to be able to drop a sales order in. Okay, I'm going to plug in branch plant 700 and work center 70006, and there we go. So our data has populated. So what we have up here is our load and our capacity down below. So the released load, that is based on work orders that we have created, that's existing. Planned load, that's based on MRP, the planned load of work orders. Okay, you'll see we've got a lot of past dues here. This is really old data that I'm working with, so of course I'm going to be having a load of past dues. The gross capacity, this is based on what we have set up for this work center. So we have one person for this work center. It's an 8-hour day. It's one shift. We also have a, for the rated capacity, an efficiency factor of 90%. And that is really it. I'm going to open this grid up a little bit here so we can see the accumulated. So with this accumulated, we can see basically what it's going to take to get back into sync if we want to apply overtime or make change to the load. We can go up to the form exit and look at our capacity messages. And period summary, we can identify the work orders that are past due. Okay. And of course, our dispatch list. So a great tool to work with. I've seen this used for instance, production meetings. They'll do a quick snapshot and to be able to, give the shop floor an idea of what's coming up and where we're overloaded, underloaded. It's just, again, it's a tool to be able to use to manage production. And that's really it. So if you have any further questions, shoot me an email, jpaulson@j2eresource.com. If you have an interest in a demo, setups, I can certainly come in, do a setup in a test environment and run this program. That's it. And thank you.